Premier Gordon Campbell is in Copenhagen tonight, taking part in the United Nations Climate Change Conference. But before he left for Denmark, the Premier sat down with A News legislature reporter Shachi Kurl to discuss some of the highs and lows of this past year. In May, Campbell became the first Premier in BC in 26 years to win 3 provincial elections in a row. He says he plans to run again in 2013, but with questions surrounding when and how much the Liberals knew about the size of the deficit, plus growing opposition to the implementation of the Harmonized Sales Tax, critics say the Premier may have his work cut out for him.
Well, I totally understand that someone that's not involved in the day-to-day operations of government or the flows of revenues and finances, they're not paying attention necessarily to what's taking place. But it's pretty incontrovertible that we had a $787 million hit in income tax for corporate and personal income tax at the end of June, which you never know about until you get it at the end of June. There's no way that we could be pre-warned of that. It's what individuals do with their taxes, right? We lost $500 million in terms of natural gas revenues, something we always identify how volatile natural gas revenues are. You lose $1, you lose $300 million in terms of your revenues to government. We lost $500 million in natural resource revenues as we went through the summer. In fact, there's never been a time in the history of the province where there's been more revenue hits done more rapidly than between June, the 20th of June in 2009 till August the 1st. It was dramatic, and it was, frankly, it was there. There's nothing we can do about it, and there's no way we could know about it till it was done. What we can do is try and act on it, and try and act in a way that strengthens the economy and creates a better environment for investment. And so you come out of this downturn, which has been significant and heartfelt in British Columbia, come out of it even stronger for the future. A year ago today, when we were sitting down, British Columbia still was looking at a $1.3 billion surplus for the 2008-9 year. We ended up with a surplus that was significantly less than that, nevertheless a surplus, while other jurisdictions are ending up with substantial deficits. Every part of this country has been hit with this, and I think that it's a challenge to be elected at a time like this. But the best you can do is to say, this is what I know, this is when I knew it, and these are the steps I'm taking to try and make sure that we're stronger when we come out of it.
You think that is going to be enough to turn opinions over the next 12 months?
I think that if you try and govern on the basis of what opinion polls tell you, I can almost guarantee you're going to fall out of favor faster than over the long term. I've been doing this for 25 years now. There have been times when I've been popular, there's been times when I haven't been popular. What I've always tried to do is what I thought was in the best interests of either the city that I was serving or the province that I'm serving, and that's still what I try to do.
Well, let's talk about that, because you do talk about the strength of your convictions quite often, and we've heard you say many times what you've just said, that as long as what we're doing is right, it doesn't matter if it's unpopular. In the long run, we're doing what's right. What I want to know is, how do you know you're not wrong now? I mean, well, you're convinced in what you're saying. You're saying, yeah, this is what I believe in. But how do you know that we're not going to see the benefits of the HST that are promised? How do you know that the cuts that we're seeing to gaming grants aren't going to be as devastating or more devastating than we anticipate? How do you know you're not wrong?
Well, first, I think you always have to make the best judgment you have. I think that these things are never black and white. If they were black and white, there wouldn't be any debate about them. And one of the great things about this country is, and the environment we live in, is there's lots of debate. But when you hear every leading economist in the country, every leading economist say, you know what, this is the best thing you could do for the economy. Actually, I still believe that the best thing we can do is be a regime that encourages, investments, encourages people to go and to work hard and know they'll do better. The reason that you have at least a 37% lower income tax today is because we made difficult choices, and actually we allowed you to keep more in your pocket. That's what's really critical with this. HST actually is a situation where it's less regressive, it's far more transparent in terms of what we're doing, and it makes us one of the top jurisdictions on the continent to invest. So when people are thinking of investing, they're going to think of British Columbia.
We will bring you more of our year-end sit-down with the Premier tomorrow as he discussed cuts to arts funding and the government's decision to dissolve Tourism British Columbia. That's tomorrow on A News at 5.